Broadcasting from the Symphony Studios in Marietta, Georgia, it's time for the High Tech Women Podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. Listen in as we speak with and learn from inspiring women who have stepped up and stepped into careers in technology and construction. Now, here are your hosts.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Tech Women Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts today, Katie Galley, and I'm joined in the Symphony studio with my other co-host, Trey Gaskins. How are you doing, Trey?
Doing great. Hey, Katie.
It's been a while since we've co-hosted a show together.
I know. I've been looking forward to it, and I had some time off, and I'm glad to be back and looking forward to another great episode.
Yeah, well, we're super happy to have you back, of course. And of course, too, we get to have a great guest in the Symphony studio with us today. We have the Global Director of MDU at CommScope, Ruckus, Sandy Jack. How are you doing, Sandy?
Hey, Katie. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. Super happy to have you, Sandy. And so just to dive in and get to know your background a little bit, can you walk us through your professional journey to date and how you specifically found yourself in the tech industry?
You know, that's a really great question. And I think we talked a little bit before, but I didn't start in the tech industry. I was an art major in college and a yoga studio owner. So I was art major, yoga studio, and I met somebody in the industry. They're like, wow, we really like your energy, whatever. They're like, come apply for this sales job. And I was like, dude, I don't know anything about tech because it says yoga instructor. And I'm like, did you see that part? They're like, yeah, but you know what? Tech changes all the time. We don't need somebody who knows tech. You just have to be smart, adaptable, and have a great personality. And they're like, you're just perfect for this. And I was like, all right, I'll take your stupid job. Well, you know what? They were right. I didn't have to know about tech. I learned about tech on the job because it is changing every day. That's the beauty of technology, is that we have to be able to be cutting edge and being out there. So if you're a person that's really interested in things and curious and really want to get into it, it's a great industry. And so now here I am, X amount of years later, and now I'm global director of CommScope Ruckus for MDU. And it's been so fun, so fun.
Yeah.
X number of years.
Yeah.
Well, what was your first techie job, Sandy?
Great question. So my first techie job was kind of like a lot of people's techie jobs. I would have worked for a company like Symphony, and I would be their sales rep. And I would be the broker between the technology, and I'd have to learn. And I really had to learn a lot of different technologies. So here's me not knowing technology at all. So I really dived in to know what's Wi-Fi, what's cabling, what's security, what are the things that I need to know to go out there and address the opportunities and talk to people intelligently. And so I was just a regular old salesperson, and that's what I did.
I love that. And so how did you go about learning all of that? Did you just immerse yourself in the industry? Did you read any publications?
Yes, on all of that. Like I said, you got to be curious. And so when I found a solution that I thought was really interesting, I was like, hey, I really like this company. Let me learn about it. And, and with tech companies, they really want you to know their stuff too. So there's always free trainings and things to get to know. And, and now even more so, X amount of years later, there's just so much available to you online, and you can really learn a lot about the industry without having to be going to school for it. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Sandy, we've known you for a little bit, and I'm trying to remember when we first met, but you were, I think it was Ruckus before they got acquired by Eris.
That's right.
And then Eris got acquired by CommScope with Ruckus. And so you've seen different management teams and consolidations in technology. What's that been like?
That's such a fun question, because it's honestly, the first thing I talked about was being adaptable, right? So you don't.
Or flexible. Is that your yoga background?
That's my yoga background. See how it all plays together? I always tease people I'm in connectivity now. And I was like, back then I was a yoga instructor and I want to connect the world. And here I am really connecting the world. Mm-hmm. So being able to pull that all together really makes a difference. But we were bought. Ruckus was started by a woman founder. I don't know if you know that, Trey.
No,
but
I didn't know that.
Selena Lowe, she started Ruckus, and she was like, I'm going to just be the most powerful Wi-Fi company back in the day. And she was just awesome, creative. And one of the things is when you're not a big leader, you get to be scrappy and creative. And so she just delved into engineering, wanted to be a differentiator, and she did. And so she did so well that we were bought by several people. We were bought by Brocade, we were bought by Aris, we were bought by Broadcom, and we were bought by CommScope. So I've had a lot of emails, my it's sandy.jack at wherever. but because I'm adaptable, and because I was like, hey, the next best thing must be happening, because each company had brought a new thing. We were Ruckus, just a Wi-Fi company. Brocade bought us and we became a switching and Wi-Fi company. Then Aris bought us and we became we had a home solution. And then on. And now we're with CommScope. And that's amazing, because CommScope is a Fortune 500 company. And they make all the infrastructure that we need, the Cat6, the fiber, the cabling, the copper, all of that, which is everything else runs on. So now I have the complete solutions for what goes into a building. But being able to adapt and embrace change, really, because it's scary when people say, oh, you're bought, that's going to happen. It's like, okay, what does this mean? It's got to be something good. And it has been.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so, Sandy, clearly, as the company that you've worked for has adapted itself, you said yourself, you've been adaptable too in the different roles I imagine you've grown through over the years through these different transitions. So now, kind of leading into the role you have today, how did it lead you into becoming the global director of MDU?
Really great question. One of the things I always say to people is, be kind, make sure that you make connections. And it's not just connections in the technology world, but make connections with the people, because somebody's going to remember who you are, what you're doing. And like today, I had a meeting with somebody and one person had one thing, another person had another thing. And I was able to say, hey, you know what, you guys should get together. So being that person that's curious and adaptable, you're going to see opportunities and people are going to see you.
That's good.
And how about women in general? Since this is Women in Technology Month, who are some of the other women that inspire you and that are in the technology field?
So there's so many people that inspire me in the technology field. But I have to say that most of the people that inspire me, there's a lot of names I could name, like this leader and that leader, but who really inspires me in the technology field are the people that are here with me, because women are newer to this industry, right? We're new to technology. We just haven't been here as long as everybody else has. And so with that, women seem to be more about pulling other women up. So I salute the people that were above me that said, hey, you could help, let me help you, let me show you. Because I know that a lot of women, we were afraid. We're like, hey, I didn't grow up in technology. I didn't grow up in technology. I don't know these things. They've been at it for a really long time. So I think that women in technology, their big strength is they go at things different. They have a different kind of looking at things. They can see we're more communicative, so that is helpful. And so the people I look up to are the people that I work with, that work together and work together to make those bonds that make a difference.
Awesome.
I love
and
that.
I guess Katie's like X number of years younger than you.
Not Sleepless in Seattle old.
Yeah.
But what advice would you give some younger folks? Like, for example, Katie was an athlete in college and she was a superstar at her school. And she's got a very cool podcast that she does in her personal time that's really about helping other people. But she's young and growing and super smart, kind of new to technology. What kind of advice would you give to Katie, or frankly, I'm sure it transcends to guys as well, but for younger folks that are trying to move up the ladder, what would you encourage them with?
Yeah, that is such the greatest question, because that is exactly what I care about, and like Katie, like the things that Trey was saying, like, you're an athlete, you're already used to working on a team and working cooperatively, right? So use like I would recommend any young person, don't look at what everybody else is doing. Look at what you're doing. What are you really good at? You're good at being an athlete. You're good at being a team player, and being creative and adaptable. I keep saying it because it really is true. Those are the things to look for. But don't ever think that somebody knows more than you do. They just do for the moment. Everybody can learn. Everybody can grow, and follow your curiosity, and just keep being kind. I think it matters.
Coming full circle. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the insight, Sandy, and thanks for those kind words, Trey. That was some great advice. So, Sandy, to wrap, we'll try before we wrap. Do you have any closing questions for Sandy before she tells us where to get in touch?
I know she's got something coming up in just a minute, but Sandy, when you're not a global leader for multifamily around the world, what do you like to do for fun, and what are some of your hobbies, just so people can get to know you on a personal level?
Trey, that's my favorite question. So my favorite hobbies are, I like to sail, and I have a boat in Seattle that I live on when I'm not traveling, and I sail and I paddleboard and I do anything outdoors, hiking, whatever. But like water sports is my favorite. So
awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
And so you have your own sail thing. You're tell us about, you're a captain officially?
Well, when anybody owns a boat, they're a captain because it's their boat.
Okay.
Yes, but I can captain a boat. Absolutely.
And where have you taken your boat out to the ocean?
Yeah, well, just the Sound. So just in Seattle, up to the San Juans and around there, which is really fun. So
it's a beautiful place.
It is so beautiful. When it's beautiful, when it's sunny, it's beautiful. When it's raining, well, that's Seattle.
It's normal.
That's normal.
Yeah, we're in Atlanta, and I heard that we get just as much rain as Seattle does from like an almanac standpoint. It just miss all the time.
Yeah.
We get rain, we get that big downpour.
I would rather have it like that all at once. In Seattle, it's so dark. It's just,
right.
Which is kind of why I kind of opted over here to this other address, because I was like, it's too dark at like 4 o'clock. I need some sunlight.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Does the title of captain transcend into other areas of your life? So could you be like global captain of MDU? Would you ever do that?
Oh, Katie, I love you even more. That's the best idea ever. I'm just going to start introducing myself as Captain Jack and let them figure it out.
There you go. Perfect. Wow, that was made for you. I mean, you're Captain Jack.
Like Captain Jack. It really matches.
Well, Sandy, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, learn more about you, or learn more about CommScope Ruckus, where might they do that?
Well, you can always email me at sandy.jack@CommScope. That's today's email. Or feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would be glad to be hearing from you.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. To learn more about Symphony, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at Symphony Technology Solutions, and on Instagram at Symphony Tech Solutions. Never forget that wherever your pursuits take you, cling to the truth that you are absolutely made for a time such as this. See you on our next episode.